added my persuasive speech on spending time on social media is bad for your mental health. Every day, thousands of people are spending hours on end on their phones, tablets, TVs, and other electronics. They don't even realize how long they spend on these social media platforms because they get sucked into what is going on behind the screen. Social media has no positive effects for an individual and is actually creating unhealthy habits and dangerous addiction. People should stop spending so much time on social media and start doing other activities that actually benefit them. So, social media has a lot of negative effects on mental health, but I'm going to talk about two main ones. The first one is fear of missing out. Social media use is nearly universal among today's teens. Francis Delambeau shares Pew Research Center's findings from March 1st, 2022, that show 97% of 13 to 17-year-olds use at least one of 7 major online platforms. Due to such a high percentage of teens using social media, that leads to a much higher percentage of your friends posting on social media. Constantly seeing what your friends are posting on social media when you're not there or weren't invited gives you FOMO, fear of missing out. Knowing your friends are posting makes you want to constantly check in on social media about what they're doing, which creates an addictive, unhealthy habit. Next, it creates body image issues. Deborah Glassfer, an associate professor of psychology and psychiatry, shares her findings from a website titled Just How Harmful Social Media that was published on September 27, 2021. It reads that for adolescent girls in particular, the more time they spend on social media directly relates to how much they absorb the idea that being thin is ideal and are driven to try to become more thin or overly analyze their bodies. Seeing influencers and celebrities post on social media gives them this false reality that you're supposed to look this way and this is the only way like you're supposed to look because it's society's standards, and it just creates false realities in their head, and it is really unhealthy and creates bad habits. Some people may argue that social media is not bad for your mental health and provides many benefits. Keith Arrington, an author from a website titled Social Media Pros and Cons Top 10, published on January 25th, 2022, provides us with a few examples of how social media is beneficial. There's a huge audience, so you can easily get your brand or advertisement across. However, not everyone has social media, so not everyone sees these advertisements, so it's not always the best thing to post on social media. Social media allows you to communicate with your friends and family easier, and you get real-time feedback and comments, whether from friends, business partners, etc. These positives can very well lead into negatives due to much communication and feedback that could be negative, because the feedback coming in is not always positive. So if there's constantly negative feedback, it's just all around a negative place to be. Everywhere I go, there's always someone on their phone or on their computer. So many people easily get distracted by these devices and their whole life depends on it. This is very dangerous, and if people continue to spend hours on end on social media, it can be very damaging for them physically and mentally. Social media is overall bad for your mental health. Instead of spending hours on TikTok, Netflix, or other networking services, you can spend time doing other things that positively benefit you. Don't go on social media for a whole week and see how happier and fulfilled you feel doing other things rather than being drawn into the negativity of spending time on social media.